Good morning, everyone. Oh my goodness, we've got lots of you who have jumped on here already. Good morning, Julie and Dee and Mary and Sandy and Kelly and Mary Stamp. I'm so glad that you are joining me this morning. My name is Sarah Simon. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm located in Appleton, Wisconsin. Looks like we've got some people from sunny Texas. Hi, Dee, and Julie from North Dakota. I'm so glad that you are able to join me. I am going to be doing 2 cards for you today. Normally I do 3. I was talking to my mom. I had almost an all-nighter on Thursday night to get ready for a retreat that I was helping with at our high school. And I just decided, she came over and brought me dinner. My mom is fabulous, but she brought me dinner last night and she's like, please promise me you're going to go to bed early tonight. And so I decided that there was a card fun fold that I have been wanting to try that I saw on Lisa Curcio's one of her YouTube lives, and I've been really wanting to try that. And so I really put my time and energy into figuring out how to do it and trying to come up with some pointers for you so that you don't feel overwhelmed doing it. And so we're going to be doing that. And I also wanted to do a little sneak peek because you know what? May 2nd is just around the corner. We just have about a week and a couple of days until our new annual catalog goes live. Looks like we have more people. Good morning, Barbara from Connecticut, and Linda and Lori from Central Illinois. I'm glad you like fun folds. Both of our cards today are fun folds, Julie. So you will get a couple of them today. The second one is kind of one of those wow cards. I have to admit that when it was done, I was like, oh, I love this. So yes, Linda, mom knows best. We need to listen to our mothers, right? So I wanted to start with some prizes and then we will get to stamping right away. So last week, and I didn't put my overhead light on. I think I have enough lighting. It's better when I'm doing my actual stamping to not have an overhead light because otherwise I get a whole bunch of shadows. So last week we made this Mother's Day card, which was our SIP card, Stamp, Ink, and Papers. Really, really quick, fast, and easy to do. Then we had this fun fold that has the little Z fold with the pull out with our little gnomes. And we did our split fold, and this was our sneak peek. It was like a split panel card with those balloons and some of our new colors. Some of them are returning and some of them are new. So receiving these for commenting. Now I will look at, and when I did this, I did look at Facebook, anybody that commented there, after the fact. Anyone that commented in YouTube. I know some people have said, I don't know how to comment in YouTube. It's just like Facebook in that you have to have an account in order to comment. So in the upper right hand corner, there should be a sign in button and you should be able to create an account. If you have a Gmail account, you should be able to just sign in with your Gmail account and you have to be signed in order to comment. I know you can watch YouTube without having an account, but in order to comment, you do have to. So I am checking both places. So commenting and receiving these is Michelle Jones. So Michelle, I don't have your address. And so if you could send me a private message with your address, I would be happy to get these in the to you. My email is createwithsarahllc@gmail, or you can send it in a Facebook private message. I just don't want you to put your address out there for everyone to see, so it's probably better to put it in a private message. Then for sharing, you can hit share if you're signed in right in YouTube, and you can also share the link that I had in Facebook, and I am checking all of those as well. Please mark that you shared because I can't always see who has shared depending on your settings. So receiving some of these glassy dots that are carrying over into the next catalog. They have, oh my gosh, there's purple and there's Gorgeous Grape, there's Melon Mambo, Daffodil Delight, and some Pool Party on these. is it's Diane MH42, which I think might be Diane Hermson. Let me know that for sure, Diane, if that is you, because that's what it's showing up with as a name. All right, and then for placing an order, oops, I didn't know where I put it. For placing an order, there were many of you that placed an order on our no cost for shipping day, and I'm sorry that I didn't get that out sooner. Sometimes Stampin' Up! Gives us a lot of leeway and letting us know those things. Sometimes it's just like the day before. So we got notice late on Monday, and I meant to get it up right away, and I didn't because my week was kind of crazy. This is just a part-time gig for me, very part-time. I am a full-time teacher tech coordinator in a school. So receiving this, a fish is a wish, and also the coordinating punch to go with it. So a bundle this time is Amanda Shabo. And Amanda, you must be lucky. I would go buy a lottery ticket because I pulled your name 2 weeks in a row, once for sharing and once for placing an order. So I still have to send out your what you won last week. So I will put the two of them together. And I am getting to the post office today to send all of that out. Several people, and there goes the punch. It should be fine. Sorry about that. I am going to the post office today because I have some catalogs of people that contacted me that they would like to get the new annual catalog. If you had placed an order with me in like the last, I think I looked 6 months, you should have received a catalog from Stampin' Up! I know I sent myself one to make sure I knew when people got them, and I got mine this last week. So the new annual catalog looks like this. And if you do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I know some people have been demonstrators and now they're not, and they don't get the catalog anymore, and you would like a copy of it, please make a comment in here or send me an email or send me a message in Facebook Messenger. I will need your address if you haven't placed an order or you haven't won a prize for me or anything like that, and I would be happy to get that in the mail to you. I have several of them who emailed me this week that are going out today when I go to the post office. Sometimes I can put things right in my mailbox if it's tiny, but when I've got a whole lot of stuff that I'm shipping out, then I have to go to the post office. So that is our annual catalog. All right, I think we are ready to get going. We've got a couple of other people that look like a lot of people said that they shared, so thank you very much for that. I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera to my phone, and we are going to go get started right away with our 2 cards that we're going to be making today. All right, let me get my mouse out of the way here. We are going to be using some designer or a suite. This is called the Countryside Inn. This reminds me of a Countryside Inn. It reminds me of like quilts on a bed. And look at how pretty that paper is that we're going to be using. So, and there's like this one has little bunnies in it, which I didn't realize that when I was looking in the catalog. I guess I didn't look closely enough. This one has some little birds in it. This one is some floral and images. This one has some little foxes in it. And like I said, I did not recognize that. I didn't look closely enough in the catalog. And this one has some trees. And then on the back side of these, we have some different shades of blue. Okay, so this is boho blue. We've got some night of navy. We've got some misty moonlight going on. And I believe balmy blue is also in here. Yeah, balmy blue, boho blue, misty moonlight, and night of navy. So this is what we're going to be using for our paper today. Get that out of the way. This is what the stamp set looks like that we're going to be using. It's just like borders for you to be able to cut out. Now, I didn't realize that this was one stamp. So this is what the stamp looks like. So what you can do is you can stamp this and you can cut out. It has matching dies. Whoops, wrong one. It has coordinating dies to cut all of these different labels out depending on which size you would like. So we're going to be cutting out a couple of them because I wanted one that was white and one that's going to be in the boho blue. And then this little thing in the center here I'm pairing it with Lasting Joy, which is on the next page in the catalog. It's not part of the suite, but I thought that these floral images on the bottom looked really nice with the paper, and these greenery things look nice. And a lot of these wishes fit right inside of those labels. So Lasting Joy is the name of this stamp set that I'm using with it. So I think we will start with stamping. Let me pull out our dimensions, and I do have these in that Google Drive folder. I will also be linking them. I also have everything typed up on my blog. All I have to do is add the little images of the stuff that we're using in here, and then I will be able to post that on my blog. Some of you, thank you for your comments on the blog. I needed to find something that was easier than what I was using, and I've used Blogger at work for different things, and it's free, where I was paying for the other one. And if I'm paying for this and I'm not using it, it's a waste of money. So I canceled my subscription to that, and I decided I'm just going to go with something free. I'm going to try to keep it up. There's just so many hours in a day though. All right, so this is the Boho Blue, which is it's kind of like a, I don't know, I think of a country blue, dusty blue. 5.5 by 6.5, and I scored this at 4 1/4. So we've got like a little thing going on here, flat. Then I also have some boho blue. This is a scrap that we're going to be stamping on. I have some basic white that's a scrap that we're going to be stamping on. My little side piece for this is 2 inches by 4 inches, and I scored this at 1/2 inch. This is going to be kind of like a little hinge, like little flap that we're going to open up on this. This is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be for the inside. And then I have 2 pieces of that designer paper that I cut at 2 inches by 5 1/4 inch. Okay, and all of these dimensions, again, for those of you that are new, you will be able to find in a document that I will actually link in the description of this YouTube video when I'm finished. And I will also do a link to my blog so that you can get to that. We are going to stamp on this. So I'm going to put these aside. We're going to stamp on this, and we're going to stamp on that. So I'm going to keep those out. And I think we're going to stamp on our envelope too. I didn't cut any designer paper today for our envelope, so we're going to stamp on that as well. So let's start with this bigger stamp. So what I wanted in this, I wanted to have, I gotta look to see which one, this is my inside. I wanted to have this floral image, so let's flip it around so we can see. And I've got light shining on there, there we go. I wanted this floral image in this side to be in white, and then I wanted the rest of these to be on the boho blue, and I wanted my greeting to go in the center of that. So what I did, and I played around with this quite a bit. I know I sent the first card that I made. Yeah, you should, Amanda. You should buy a lottery ticket. The first card that I made, I was done. I sent it to my mom. She's like, beautiful. Now one more and then go to bed. And I played with this for the longest time. It's not that this fold is hard at all. I just had to, when I'm using new product, I just have to get used to using the new product. I'm going to put this down. Usually with stamps that are big like this, I like to put the stamp upside down, and then I like to put my paper to the stamp, and then I usually just take some scrap paper and I press it. I find that I get a better coverage being able to press it with my fingers like this than I do trying to take that big stamp and stamp it, like flipping it over. So this is how I find that I get the best, crispest image with any of these background or really big type stamps. Okay, so there is that. And again, we're going to cut out, we only need this part, but I can go ahead and save this in case I have another project where I want that bigger. I'm going to do the same thing. This scrap is a little bit smaller because I don't need the entire image. I just need this smaller part. I could have taken a smaller piece of basic white as well and only used part of that as well, but I was like, I can use this again, so I might as well just stamp it, and then I'll just keep it in my case to use again. So I'm going to just center this And again, I'm going to take some scrap paper and just kind of press on it to make sure that I get a really nice, good, crisp image. It's just something that, let's see, Mary. Oh, cornflower blue. Yeah, it does. Oops, I just moved it a little bit. Okay, it still looks good. So it doesn't matter that this isn't straight because I'm just going to be cutting that out anyway. Okay, so that is that part of it. I'm going to move this big stamp out of the way. All right, then I'm going to bring in this. Actually, let's keep this. Let's put our greeting in here. So I'm using the Thinking of You greeting that comes from that Lasting Joy stamp set that I shared with you. And I'm just going to stand up to make sure I can look over the top of my camera to get this centered as best I can. Okay, pretty good. It's a little bit down, but it's because I'm looking over my camera. All right, so we're going to cut those out in just a little bit. While I have my ink open, I'm going to bring some of the boho blue ink in. Now, when I stamped with this the first time, I was like, ooh, that didn't stamp very nice. It's like there's too much ink on it. But then it dried. And then I was like, oh, that looks really, really nice. I love it. Whoops, got disconnected. Just hang tight. Not sure why this happens. I just have to try to get connected again. Hang tight, people. I'm sorry. Oops, there we go. I think I'm coming back. There we go. All right. I'm still not sure why that happened, so I apologize for that. I don't know if it's a surge or what it is. Oh, Sandy, I'm sorry you couldn't get me right away. If you want to, just go ahead and go back to, you can watch it from the beginning again. We're just actually getting started. All right, so I'm using this floral image that has 4 little flowers. I'm also using this little image that has a single flower, and we're going to be using some of the little greenery that's in that. All right, so I'm going to start with the boho blue with these 4, and I'm just going to kind of stamp those. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I don't know which order I put them in. It doesn't really matter. Let's go like this. Okay, then I wanted to add some, if you look at the paper, there's like blues and there's boho blue, there's night of navy, and some of them have like a boho blue with a navy on top of it. So I decided to take this little flower and I wanted to add a little bit of night of navy. So actually, you know what? I did the greens first. I'm going to add some of the greens. So I'm just going to put some down there. And we'll add some up here. And we'll add a little bit maybe right there. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing at the top. Add some there. There's really no, rhyme or reason to where I'm putting these. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't get any ink on my finger when I dropped that there. I don't know if my phone rang or not, Sandy. I have it on Do Not Disturb, so I don't hear the phone ring, but I'm not quite sure. I thought that's what was happening, but I'm not getting any like missed calls while I'm on. So that's why I'm like, I'm not completely 100% sure what's happening. All right, we've got this blue. I'm just going to add it to the center. See how I just put it right over the top of that boho blue? So there's some boho blue and some night of navy together. And then I'm going to do one of these with just navy. Okay, so that gives me a little bit of the navy floral and a little bit of the boho blue. And if you feel like you need to add a little bit more, you could add a little bit more to it as well. It's entirely up to you what you like. All right, we are done with our stamping. Now before we go ahead and put this together, we need to bring in our Big Shot, or not Big Shot, oh my gosh, hasn't been called a Big Shot for a really long time. Our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And let me just get these stamps out of the way here and the ink pads. And let me grab my machine. It's sitting right here on the floor next to me. All right, and we are going to be taking these layers and we are going to be cutting those out using the coordinating dies. So the first one that I'm going to do is this white one, basic white. All right. Oh, so somebody else, Sandy, had the same problem. That's good to know that it's not just me. Because part of me was wondering, am I having a surge, like a power, like too much internet use or something like that? Because I do have internet going on my iPad to watch all your comments. I have my computer that's going, that is pulling from the Wi-Fi. And then I also have my phone. And so I thought maybe it was just like a surge. So I'm just going to slide that die in there. I'm cutting out that floral image. I'm going to put the top on here and hopefully I don't move it at all. Looks pretty good. So we're just going to cut that out. So that's what that label looks like. Now I'm going to be covering that up. So I could come in if I wanted to, and I could just cut that out again if I wanted just the ring like that. But I'm just going to put mine on top of it. So it didn't matter to me if that had all that other stuff or not. So now I'm going to bring the next size label. I'm going to set that in there, or the next size die, and set that in there. And again, hopefully it doesn't move. I didn't bring any tape over with me. Should be good. All right. And here we have that label. So this can just go right on top of there to add some different color and to be able to use all of those different layers that are on there. So I think that's why they put the stamp as one stamp rather than a bunch of different labels, because this way you can cut out what you need and you don't have to worry. Like if I wanted to use, I've got 2 different borders there. I didn't have to try to line those up at all. It was just part of the stamp that went that way. So as I was playing last night, first I was like, oh, this is one stamp. Oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Because I didn't look that closely when I ordered it. I just thought that's really cool. But now as I was playing, I'm like, well, I do like that it's one stamp because I can use both of these labels or these borders, and I didn't have to try to line them up perfectly. Okay, so... Oh, stamp your envelope. Thank you, Kelly. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I said I was going to stamp my envelope, and then I set it aside. Should we stamp the back? Let's stamp the back, and let's stamp the side. Good thing I have you ladies keeping me on task. I say something, and then I forget about it. So I'm glad you're paying attention. All right, let's go ahead and just stamp some of these floral images along the back here. We'll flip it around and do it in different ways. And I'll fill in with some of that. And I can actually go like this and fold it. And then I can put a couple here. I don't want to put too many. And we'll put one of those in the front. And then we'll come in with our Night of Navy. And for down here, I need to have this in. So I could use the designer paper, but if you're the type of person that's like, I need to save that designer paper. So for me, I was like, if I want to use this for a class, I want to make sure that I have enough of it left, or if I'm doing a swap, I want to make sure I had enough of it left. Now I'm going to close it and do the top part. And I probably don't need any of the navy flower, but we'll just put a couple of them maybe over the top of some of the boho blue ones. And we'll do a couple in here. Okay, so it's kind of like having the designer paper, and then we'll come to the front. And I'll just add a little bit of greenery to that as well. Oops. And there we go. We've got an envelope ready to go as well. Thank you for reminding me, Kelly. All right. Now I think we're ready to put this card together. Now that we have everything stamped and we have everything cut out that we need. All right, so I'll set my envelope aside and we'll bring this in. Now, again, fun folds, you want to make sure that you are burnishing everything really good so that things will lay flat and they don't like pop open on you. So I always make sure I use a bone folder. I've mentioned before, if you've ever ordered Pampered Chef and you've gotten one of their stones and you get one of those, their brown little scraping things, those work really well as to help you crease things as well. All right, this is going to go on top of there. So it just fits on there. I didn't want to have too much blue. You could have cut this a little bit bigger if you wanted to. I just kind of eyeballed it to figure out what size I wanted to have. I didn't want it to be too big because I still wanted to be able to see those flowers on the top and on the bottom. So I just, 2 inches was what I had left when I cut this part off. And I'm like, oh, I just want to use that so I don't have to use more paper. Because the biggest thing when I'm making cards is I want to be as frugal as I can, I guess is a good word to put it, with, whoops, I got to center this better, with the paper that I'm using. So I don't want to have to go, this still only used a half a sheet of the boho blue. I didn't have to go get another sheet. And I don't know if I cut this correctly because mine fit perfectly on there. And I'm having a hard time getting this, there we go, to fit on there. I may have cut it a little bit shorter. You know how you can go right up to the line, you can touch the line. It kind of depends on what you do. This then is going to, I'm going to put some glue on this little flap. And this, whoops, is going to go like that. Right, and then we are going to attach that to the inside of our card. And then these 2 pieces of designer paper that I had that match with those stamps so well, I'm going to put one of those on the outside. And then I wanted to have a little bit of a wow when you open it. So I decided I wanted to put one on the inside as well. So I did the outside. You wouldn't have to do the inside if you wanted to save on some paper. Linda, boho blue reminds me of bordering blue from years ago. I don't remember bordering blue, but I do love it. It's very, very pretty. Hi, Denise. You did join the live chat, Denise. You're in. All right, there we go. And then this, I'm going to pop up on some dimensionals because I don't have anything else really popped up. And you know what? I didn't burnish this really good, I don't think. There we go. And sometimes I flip it over and burnish it from both sides, and then it lays a little bit flatter. There we go. All right, my dimensionals. That was a little bit of a squirrel moment. And I like to make sure so that I don't have saggy middles. I like to put enough dimensionals on so that it's not like, okay, there's dimensionals on both sides and then it's kind of sagging in the middle. So I did add some dimensionals to the middle section as well. I use a lot of dimensionals. I probably wouldn't need to use as many, and I probably could have used some littler ones on this. And I'm gonna center that. on there. Looks like I didn't center it very well. I should look on top instead of from my side. Because right now I'm not on top, because if I'm on top, I guess just skip this here. Let me stand on top. That would be better. There we go. Much easier to get it centered. All right, and then with our in colors, we also have kind of like those glossy dots that were won today by whoever was our winner of that. I think it was Diane. We have these. So I just wanted to add a couple of these to the front. These are very, very flat, and they don't add a lot of bulk to your card. So I'm just going to, come on. The other thing I can do, I need some putty on my take your pick tool. I'm going to go ahead and pick these up, and I'm just going to add, let's add one down here. I have to get it off my nail. There we go. And we'll add one up here, and I'm just going to use, for the sake of wanting to not have all of my big ones left, I'm just going to use one of each, and there's a little bit more white there than there is up on top, so that'll just kind of balance that out a little bit. So there is our first card, my first attempt at using the Countryside Inn designer paper, and also a little fun fold. Okay, so I can't call that one a sip card. Whoops, I'm putting my cover for my take your pick tool on my glue cover. All right, so that is our first card, and we've got our matching envelope to go along with it, so it's all ready to go out in the mail. Now, if you wanted to, you could stamp a little greeting over here, because it would get covered up by that if you did it kind of in the center here. So if you wanted to add thinking of you and it needed to be get well soon, or thinking of you and with deepest sympathy, or whatever you wanted to do, I love thinking of you because they can go with so many things. All right, so that is our card number 1. Let me just clean up my space here so that I can get ready for card 2. Card 2 is the one that is going to be kind of our wow card. I'm going to put these back in here because otherwise I'm going to lose them. Okay, so we've got all the different sizes, and then it's got this little banner as well with those dies. So, all right. So that is our card 1, and let's get ready to do card 2. Oh, this card 2, I hope I can pull this off. I only made it a couple, I made a template for myself, and then from the template, I made the card that we're going to be making. All right, there are a lot of layers to this, but I will have all of them. I do have them all typed up already. I did that this morning. I actually, because I went to bed early, I was up earlier, and I was able to get everything typed up. So here's our envelope, and I've got paper for that. So now this paper is retiring. The stamp set, so the bundle that I'm using is called Pansy Patch. And this was kind of brought to my attention again because a couple of weeks ago, Karen Roofing won our creative challenge, and she picked the Pansy Patch because the bundle is going to be retiring, so she wouldn't be able to get the 10% off in the new catalog. The stamp set's coming back, the dies are coming back, but the bundle itself is going to be retiring. And so I'm like, oh, I should do that in case somebody else has missed this, because I haven't used this for a while, because I think this is the 3rd catalog. It might have been like a spring catalog, the annual catalog, and now it's again in our annual catalog. So that's the stamp set that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to be using the dies especially. Some people don't know how to put that pansy together with the dies, so this will be a kind of a how-to with that as well. All right, Orchid Oasis is our color. I know it looks a little bit like that boho blue on the camera, but this really is a purple. And this is 5.5 by 5 3/4. And on the 5 3/4 side, I scored at 1.5. Okay, so this is going to be the base. And I do have all of these like base, hinges, all of that kind of stuff. I do have that all listed as well, like what the cardstock is for. All right, we have our hinges for this card. So these are two that measure 1.5 by 5, and it's scored at 3/4. And we have to do some more scoring on this. And so I'm going to keep these aside and I'm going to show you how to do that scoring. And I think what I'll do is I'll take a picture of it and I will post the picture on my blog as well. I didn't do that yet because I didn't want to cut these without being with you. So I'm going to take these off as I do them here. All right, we've got some doors. These are our doors, and our doors are each going to be 2 inches by 3.5. So it looks like this is kind of like a gatefold, but the doors are actually attached to some hinges so that when you open those doors up, it kind of like pops the top up. It's kind of cool. This is also Orchid Oasis. This is 3 3/8 by 2 5/8, and this is going to be for our front focal point. It's going to be one of the layers. Okay, so that's all of our Orchid Oasis. Then I have one layer of Starry Sky. That's 3.5 by 2 3/4. So that's going to be part of our focal image as well, where we're going to layer that on top of there. All right, then I have basic white. I just have one of them that is 3.25 by 2.5. And again, that's going to be for our focal image on the front. Okay, so these three are going to be layered together. You can see the colors that we're going to be bringing into our pansy. All right, and then I have a piece. This is going to be our second opening up piece. This is 3 3/4 by 8, and I scored it at 4 inches. So this is going to be the inside part of our card. And we're going to do a little bit of blending on here with some stencils or decorative masks. Then I have DSP, and I don't know if this is left or not. I did not get a chance to look, but it went so well with this that I ended up using it. So if it's retired, I'm sorry. 1 7/8 by 3 3/8, and I have 4 of these. Now you could get away with 2 if you wanted to. I'll show you why. But just like that last one, this card, I could have gotten away with just one of the designer series paper, but I wanted to put the other one on the inside. The same thing goes with this. So our 2 doors, you can either put just on the outside or you can put on the outside and the inside. It'll make sense in a little bit. Okay, so those are our doors. These are for our hinges. These measure 4 1/8 inch long, and they're just in 1/2 inch wide. Okay, and then this is for our base, and this measures 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. Right? I'm going to go ahead and get my trimmer in here, and I'm going to show you what we have to do with these hinges yet. So let me grab my trimmer, and I'll bring that in. And I also have to grab a pencil. I got one sitting here. I thought I had one out. Okay, what I need to do is I'm going to measure down 1.5 inches. So I'm going to put this in here, and I have this lined up at 1.5. And what I want to do is I just want to put a little mark with my pencil at the top and at the bottom. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see that. I probably should have grabbed a white pencil so that you could see it in this, but this is just at 1.5 inches, and I'm putting a mark at the top and at the bottom. Okay, then what I need to do is I'm going to use my scoring tool, and I'm going to go from that little mark, which I can see it's right there. So I'm going to line that up in this channel, and I'm going to line up the corner. So this is my little mark, that's the corner, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score that. And I'm going to do that on the other side as well. So here's my little mark. I have to get that in the channel, and I have to go to the opposite corner with it. Okay, so that's that one. So you're going to have an X, and you're also going to have the score line down the center. I have to do the same thing on this other one. So here's my tick mark. There is my corner. So they're both lined up in my channel, and then I'm going to score. Okay, here is my tick mark. Going to get that in the channel and the corner in the channel, and I'm going to score. Okay, so that's all that's different. I have two pieces that look exactly the same. It has that little X scored in it, and it has that diagonal. All right, we can get our trimmer out of here. That's all we need that for. Now, what I need to do with this is I need to cut. So I need to cut from here, from this little score line, and then up to the top here. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut right along that score line until I get to where all of those score lines meet in the center. And then I'm going to come down from the top and cut like that. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that out. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to come up to where they meet, and then from the top, I'm going to come down and cut that little corner off. Okay, again, this is making our hinge for our card. All right, I'm going to set this aside so that we can do a little stamping so that when we go to put these together, we're all set to put it together and I don't have to stop in between to do the stamping. Okay, but I wanted to get this at least cut the way we need to have it cut. All right, for our stamping, I'm going to bring this in. This is going to be the top of our, this is going to be opening up in the center of our card. So again, I'm going to give that a good burnish. And what I wanted to do is I just wanted to make a background on this. So our decorative masks look like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this over the top, and I'm just going to take some of our Orchid Oasis ink, and I'm going to take a blending brush. Now these blending brushes, you can just under underwater when you're finished. So I used this last night when I was making this card. I had used it last weekend for a card buffet that I had, and all I did was run them underwater when I was done with the card buffet and let them dry naturally, and it was good to go. All right, I am going to brush a little bit of this off, and then just going to put this decorative masks on here. And you do have to make sure you're holding it tight and that you don't slide it as you're doing this. And it's okay if you have darker shades in some areas than you have in other areas. Okay, so now I'm going to move and hold on in the bottom corner here. And then, oops, I want to make sure I don't move it. It's hard to do when I have a camera arm right to my right and I can't stretch my arm out very far. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here and I have to do this bottom corner a little bit more. All right, I'm going to make sure can see that I have ink everywhere. Whoops, I just slid it at the end there, but that's okay. You could always, if you needed to, I'll just do this again real quick. I'm going to stand up and do it so that I have a little more room. That's going to be down. The bottom is going to be glued down anyway, so you're not going to see the bottom. So if you do make a mistake, you could also put designer series paper here if you wanted to. Oh, this is much easier standing up than it was sitting down and having to work over my camera that way. Note to self, always stand up when camera is in your way. Makes it so much easier. Like I said, you could use designer paper here, but I thought I've got quite a bit of designer paper that I'm already using. Oh, and I just moved it right at the end. I didn't even need that bit, but that's okay. It's going to be fine like this. All right, then I'm going to keep this out. I'm going to I'm going to go to the inside of this, and I'm going to stamp in a greeting in Starry Sky. And my greeting is going to be one of the stamps from there that says, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. And I'm just going to, again, stand up and center that. And then I'm going to use the stamps that create the pansy. And I like to start with my darker color. And so I'm going to start with the outside. And then I like to come in with my inside color afterwards, only because I can see the dark outline better sometimes than I can see the inside layer. So I'm going to line up the inside of there. And then I have a little bit of Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to stamp that center. Okay, and then on the outside of our card, I'm going to just use our Happy Birthday stamp in Starry Sky and just stamp Happy Birthday. Oops, it looks like I have a little ink. I think I have ink on my fingers. I may just have to clean them quick so that I don't pass ink along. All right, so that's going to be the outside of our card. Let me keep some of these out. I'm going to put the Orchid Oasis away. I'm going to bring in, so these are some of the dies. And I cut all of this out so that you did not have to wait and watch me cut it out. I need to get this little yellow thing in here. Okay, so these dies cut out the parts for our pansy. So this right here is the outline of this bigger image, and I did that in Starry Sky. This right here is Orchid Oasis. This is going to be in the center here, and I did that in Starry Sky, and that is this die that looks like that. I did 2 of these in Orchid Oasis, and these are going to be the edges for these little petals. And these are in Daffodil Delight. So this will just go along the edge like that. You know how a pansy has color on the outside and then it has something different on the edge? Okay, so I did 2 of those. And then I decided I wanted to use Granny Apple Green. So there are 2 different size leaves, and I like to do odd numbers. So I did 1 of the larger leaves, and I'm getting the detail out, and then I did 2 of the smaller ones. Okay, and then there's this that cuts out 3 of your little centers. So there is our little center of our pansy. Okay, I'm going to put these dies back in this little bag so I don't lose them. I'm going to get this Happy Birthday stamp out of here so I don't put something right on top of it. I'm going to move this blend away, and I'm going to bring in some different blends for us. I wanted to add, these all have, I don't know how well you can see it, but these all have like a little pattern, like some embossing in there. I wanted that to stick out a little bit more. And because I'm going to be putting this Starry Sky around the outside edge of this, I thought it would be cool to make the center of that look like it has a little bit of Starry Sky. So I have one of my mini blends, Stampin' Blends, because I didn't need a really big one for this one. So I'm going to start in the center is where I want it to be the darkest. Okay, so I'm really going to add a lot of ink there, and then I'm just going to kind of brush over the rest of it. Can you see how that just made that pop so that you can actually see that embossing? And I might just add a little bit more yet. I really want the center to be a lot darker, just like it looks like for a pansy. Okay, that's all I'm going to do with the Starry Sky. I have a Stampin' Blend for yellows, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ink over the top of this. Now, I don't want to put that right in the blue because it will spread because it's not dry yet. So I want to add a little bit of Daffodil Delight over the top of this because it will also make that embossing just kind of pop a little bit. And I do have a wipe here. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to make sure that I get some of this ink off my hands. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Granny Apple Green. The ones that have the detail, I want to add just a little bit of ink over the top of them because it will make those like little vines, I guess they are, inside the, or veins, I think they are, inside the leaves. It'll just make that pop as well. So I don't know how well you can see, but for me, I can see immediately how that just makes that pop. I'm not as concerned as much with putting the green over the yellow because yellow's not going to change the color as much as this dark blue would pull in there. Okay, so that is going to make our petals. And it's okay that that got a little bit darker in some areas because leaves aren't all the same color, so you don't have to worry too much about that. We're also going to be putting these on top of there to give it a little bit different color and give it more of a real look to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of that away. I'm going to grab a wipe here real quick and clean off my fingers so that I don't pass any ink where I don't want it. What did we do before baby wipes, right? We use them for everything, not just for babies. We use them in school all the time too. All right, let me wipe my hands off a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and put this pansy together so that then we can focus just on the card and we'll just have all of this done. So this little piece is going to go around the outside of that bigger piece. Now, if you wanted to, you could use adhesive strips, but for me with this one, I was like, I wanted to have a little bit more wiggle room, which I get with the liquid glue. I'm really hardly pushing this at all because I don't want a lot of glue to come out at once. I just want a little bit in some of the areas that are a little bit bigger. Okay, and now, see how it gives me just a little bit of wiggle room so I can really get this lined up. Because it is so thin, it has a tendency to kind of slip the way it wants to, so you do have to make sure that you get it right in place. Okay, so that adds just a little bit. Can you see how beautiful this is going to be? Oh. Okay, then I have this inside part that is going to go right inside of here. Now, if you wanted to, you could have made that a different color if you wanted to. I just wanted to stick with the same color that I had. And I'm just lining up the edges right along the edge of the base. Got a little bit of glue on my finger there. Okay, so there is what that big piece of the pansy is looking like so far. Then I'm going to take this Orchid Oasis and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue along the edge. And I'm going to attach that. Again, I want to line up. You kind of see how these have little squiggly things on the back. I want to make sure that those squiggly things line up with the squiggly things of my Orchid Oasis. And if I did that with adhesive strips, it's harder because like it just kind of lays down. I don't know how to explain it, but you don't have as much mobility, I guess, and be able to move with it. So that's why I opted for glue in this case for this type. Okay, and then I have to do the same thing with my leaves. Now I could have done this all ahead of time, but I wanted you, there's nothing more frustrating than purchasing a stamp set and dies, and especially dies like this where you can be building things and not understand how they work. So I thought if I show you I cut them out, and you don't know how to cut them out. I didn't have to show you that, but how do I then, after they're cut out, how do I put them together? Yeah, the sponging does give it definition, Linda. I agree with you. That's why I felt like it really needed something, because you really get a chance to see all of those little details of the flower. More so than if you just leave it plain. You could leave it plain and the detail is still there. It's just that the sponging really makes all of that detail pop. Okay, and then we've got one more. A little piece, couple pieces that didn't come out right away. like I said, you don't need a lot of glue. You just need some little dots of glue. And again, I want to give credit. This fold I did not come up with myself. I found it from Lisa Curcio, and I just love it. Now, I want to put some Wink of Stella on all of this before, actually I'm going to put it together, and then I'm going to put the Wink of Stella on, because I find sometimes when I put Wink of Stella on, it doesn't stick as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to kind of, with my fingers, just kind of give this, make it look like it's a real flower. A real flower isn't going to be flat. It's going to have some dimension. So I'm just kind of loosening up the fibers of the paper just by kind of like moving it and getting it together. See how that it just has a little bit of dimension to it? I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Right, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the leaves. Just kind of, you could use a bone folder. The bone folder is a little bit more, I guess, extreme on this case. And so I just feel like just using my fingers and kind of maneuvering the paper where I want the paper to go works just fine. Okay, I don't need it overly bent or anything like that. I just want to give it just a little bit of dimension. Okay, then I'm going to use glue dots. I found glue dots were the best. And I'm just going to take one of these and put a glue dot at the base. So there's a glue dot right there. And I'm just going to overlap these to form like a double petal here. And then I'm going to put a glue dot on the front of those. And then that is just going to go. With the glue dot, I can kind of maneuver if I need to a little bit where I want that to end up. Okay, so there is my pansy. I have this little dot. Now, I did not put a glue dot on this because I found that by putting a glue dot in it, it added too much height, and I didn't want that much height to it. Whoops. I think I have a little bit of glue on the front of my finger. All right, that's going to go right in there. You can go ahead and take your pick tool and just kind of press that down a little bit. Okay, so there is my pansy. Now I can go ahead and I can add some Wink of Stella. Now I wanted to show you because I've had several people in like the last month say that their Wink of Stella didn't work. Okay, when you get a new Wink of Stella, you do have to unscrew this and you have to take this little black ring. You have to take that off and then screw it, not this. This has to stay. It's just the little black ring. Okay, you take that off, screw it back on, and then you're going to want to squeeze it until you start to see the liquid coming out. See how the liquid came out? And then, I don't want to put that in ink. Okay, now my Wink of Stella is ready to go. And I'm going to grab a new, here we go. And I'm just going to put Wink of Stella over this entire flower and really make it shine. Now, because I had ink, I just realized this, because I had ink in the center there, I should have wiped off a little bit before I came to this yellow piece, because I did transfer some of that ink there, but that's okay because the color's already in the flower. Okay, and again, you can't see that Wink of Stella, but it is shining. All right, I'm going to set that aside so that we have all of our stamping done. We have all of our pieces put together. Now we can go ahead and we can assemble our card. Okay, so I'm going to start with this base, and I'm going to give that a good burnish. All right, and I had a base DSP that is just going to go over the top like that. Kind of like our last one where we had a fold that wasn't completely, didn't make a complete card front. All right, now I need to look at the hinges, and I have to attach the hinge. The biggest thing is you have this slanted piece right here. This slanted piece has to be the piece that gets glued along the side. Okay, so we're going to open this up. Okay, so your slants on both sides have to go, the slant has to come in from the side. Okay, once it comes in from the side, it's actually going to fold in like that, or I guess out, I would say, towards your outside of your card. Okay, so they're going to fold in different directions, but that's where our thing is going to go. So I'm just going to put glue here. And I'm going to go ahead and set that hinge down right there. Okay, and I want to make sure that this side and the bottom are lining up, because then this will come right to that, where that score light is. Okay, again, here's my slanted piece. So I'm going to add glue along the slanted so that the slant is going in towards the card. I'm lining up the sides and bottom and the side. Okay, so this is going to fold over. Then what we need to do is we need to fold this in and then fold this little piece in so that it makes like a little arrow pointing to the top. Okay, and then the same thing here. I'm going to fold this in and I'm going to fold on that little line, score line, and it's going to make an arrow. So my arrow is pointing, it's kind of like it's pointing up. The only part that I need to add glue, and liquid glue is the best for this, is just this little right triangle that's up here that we just folded over. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue, and I don't want to put too much, okay, because I don't want it to squirt all out. And I don't want to have glue everywhere and have the whole card glued together. But I just need that little hinge. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this and make sure that I hold this really tight for a while. Oh, hi, Betty. Glad you joined us. All right. I still don't have it. There we go. It is glued now. Okay. So I just want to make sure I did that right. I did not do that right. Oh, my goodness, Sarah. What did I do wrong here? I have my hinge going the wrong way. Let's see here. Yeah, right. This is going to be a really easy card. No, I did it right. I'm looking at my sample. Doot, doot, doot. Looking at my sample to make sure I did this the right way. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, this pops in. This pops over. Oops, I did my arrow the wrong way. I had my glue on the wrong side. I did this the wrong way. Glue has to be on this side. So my thing both has to be down. Sorry, ladies. Ignore what I just said. I'm going to get some adhesive remover here. I made this twice, so I thought that I had it all square in my head. It's going to be okay that this has a little bit because I can give my other one away. And I even have my template that I made first. Okay, so this actually lays flat, and then these come over and this comes in like that. I have to take this little glue off, and we're still only putting glue on that little triangle. So leave your thing open. Okay, it has to have a crease in it. Okay, but leave it open when you fold this over and when you fold that over. and then the glue goes right on that little triangle. So I had it on the wrong side of the little triangle. Now I have it right, and now I'm going to close it. Okay, so it has to be laying flat. See how these are laying flat? But I have to have the crease in it so that it's going to be folding out. There we go. So there's our little hinge. So it opens like that. See how that opens? So again, lay it flat, okay, then fold over and over again, and then your little piece of your triangle that is open, that's what you're going on top. You're going to put the glue there. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Get you all confused. Okay, so here are our two little doors. Our doors have to be, when it's open, they have to be inside of here. Now, a little hint that I can give you, because when I made my first one, they weren't straight, and it was kind of a disaster. So, do you see where these score lines end right here? You don't want any glue above that. Your glue is all going to stay below it. Don't try to glue this piece because you're not going to know how far to put your glue. All right? So, I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on here. I just have to make sure I'm doing this right again. Yes. To the score line. And again, I'm going to line up on the bottom, and I'm going to go right to that fold. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, from the score line down. Now I'm second guessing myself. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, it's going to go from the inside. I'm going to line it up, and I just want to make sure that when I close this, these come together, and they do. See how they come together there in the center, and then they open up. See how that hinge is working there? Okay, so again, I folded it over, and then I put my doors so that they were going out, and then they will come back in together. Okay, this white piece that we did that has our greeting, is just going to set right inside of here. Okay, and then our designer paper that we had, I'm going to do the polka dots on the outside. I'm going to cover up where that hinge and the door meet by putting this designer series paper over the top of it. So right now, there's like a, you can see the line where here's our hinge and there's our door. And I'm going to do the other door. Whoops. And then when I open it, I thought on these doors I would go back to the plaid again. You could do whatever you want. You can use it, do the same, you can do different. You could also leave that, because there's nothing overlapping there, you could actually leave that blank if you wanted to, if you didn't want to use as much designer paper. I should have reviewed all of that with my, I will draw a picture. I will get a picture and I will include what that looks like. I will do it over again and do it so that it is the correct way so that you can see that. Okay, so now I have to put these little strips on the side here yet, on my hinges. hinge. Okay, so we're going to put something on the front here yet, but this is going to open up and then that's going to flip up. Okay, and unfortunately I have a little bit of torn paper there because of the mistake that I made. But sometimes making a mistake helps because then you learn what the right way is. Now, you could also, if you wanted to, fold it this way and fold that in and have that over the front. So you've got two different options. See how I did that? I can either put my thing in, tuck that in, and put my doors closed and put that on, or I can close the doors and then close my flap. It's entirely up to you how you like it. All right, now to put this together, I'm just going to layer the Orchid Oasis on top of that Starry Sky. And then we're going to do our basic white with our greeting. Oh, Mary, yes, a stable for a nativity scene. That would be awesome for this fold. Good idea. All right, then I'm going to take the pansy that I just made, and I'm going to throw some dimensionals on that. I want my bigger dimensionals. Here they are. I covered them up with my stamps. See how I kind of put the dimensionals where the different layers come together? Kind of reinforces them because I had just used a little glue dot there. And I'm going to set that up there. And then I'm going to just take a glue dot and I'm going to put these wherever I think they kind of look nice. I'm going to put the two little ones together and then the big one by itself. Okay, and then that is going to go right here in the center of that, and it can only be attached on this top layer, so I have to make sure that when I'm putting glue on that I'm just putting it in that top section there. And then I want to center it from the top to the bottom. And so now we can open this up. It pulls those doors open and then I can flip it up, or I can have that stenciled piece there, open it up, and it'll open this up and open the doors up. So the hinges open the doors when I actually go to open my card. Those doors get opened automatically with the little hinge that I put on there. Oh, thanks, Patty. All right, I felt this needed just a little bit of bling, so I have some of our rhinestones. Oh, and you know what? Look at, I'm getting putty now. I must have left it when I was doing it before. All right, let's put a couple of rhinestones around here. Put one there, and up there, and one in there. I got putty on the top of the rhinestone. It's sticking even to my finger. Oh, goodness. Comedy of errors here today. All right, so there is our pansy. And this has the double pop-up. So it's got the little doors that open. And then this will open as well. And again, you can, if you wanted to, you could close this and have that in there if you want instead of the paper. All right, I will give whoever wins next week my other one so you don't have the ripped thing here. And I will show you, I will have pictures of what this looks like. I will take a picture without all the pieces on it so that you can see where this goes and where the folds are as well. so that you don't make the same mistake I do. But sometimes making a mistake, it's like, okay, I'm always going to remember that now because I just made that mistake. All right, so you got to lay it flat and fold it over. Okay, so I'm going to add some of this designer paper to the envelope. Love this Orchid Oasis. Such a pretty purple color. All right, and then we will go ahead, and again, I'm using my ribbon scissors. I don't know where my other one went. It's not sitting in the little caddy that I have sitting here when I stamp, so I must have used it somewhere else and not put it back. All right, so there is our wow card. Here's the one that I made that doesn't have the, so there's my, and I don't know if you can see all that Wink of Stella on there. Okay, but then it opens up and then it opens up again. All right, so there's our wow card. I'm going to put this one here so that I make sure I give that one away next week. And then here was our other card that we had with the sneak peek with that Countryside Inn stamp set bundle, along with the lovely, what is it called? Lovely Day? Lasting Joy. Good Lord, I wasn't even close. Lasting Joy. All right. And that's what we have today for our cards. Let me come back to you, and here I am. All right, thank you. I'm going to just catch up on comments. Not sure I can attempt this card with my kids running around. Yeah, you definitely want to do that one, Amanda, when your kids are in bed and you can concentrate, because there are a lot of different parts. But like I said, I don't have that picture in there right now. I will cut apart again, and I will do a close-up picture, and I'll maybe put some arrows and everything so you can see which way it has to go. It is, like I said, it is a little bit confusing, obviously, because I got confused. But I think if you do it a couple of times, and maybe the first time, like last night when I was doing it the first time, I didn't know what I was planning. I just took some cardstock and I started cutting some cardstock. It can be some retired stuff that you don't care about. It could be typing paper if you want to try to make yourself a template that you can just keep, and then you can write the dimensions. Like if you made yourself a template for this, you could just write right on here what the dimensions are for each of the things, and then just keep it in your stash. Because once I looked at this, I was like, oh, I was supposed to do this. I had this going the wrong way. So I was able to look at my piece that I had and realize I had done it wrong. So if you have a template that you keep and you don't give away, it makes it just a little bit easier for you. And again, the person that I got this from, I don't want to take credit for the fold, was Lisa Curcio. And I don't know what she called it, but she has, I think, 4 samples, one with the Taco Fiesta, one with the, what else did she do it with? The gnomes, and I can't remember the other ones. But yeah, so she has 4 samples, and then this is my take on it with the one that I made. So it's an original as far as the design of what's on it, but it's not my fold, so I don't like to take credit for that. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I will be live next week. I'm thinking, let me know what you think about this. I'm thinking of doing like a Mother's Day gift, so that if there is like a pack of cards or some sort of gift where you can take some of your cards and give them away as a Mother's Day gift, whether it be to a mom or a daughter or daughter-in-law or an aunt or grandma or somebody like that, that might appreciate the cards. Or maybe you even want to bring it to a nursing home, and if there's an elderly person that is a mom but doesn't get a lot of people visiting them, it's something that you could give to them that they might be able to send cards to their loved ones. So I'm going to do a little gift set. I think I'm going to do the Daisy set that is in, because then the catalog will start the next Tuesday. So then you can get your hands on that if you want. So that's my plan right now. If if you think that's a good plan, let me know that. If you're thinking, I don't really like that, and I get a lot of people that say that they don't like that idea, then I'll kind of change things. But that's kind of what I was thinking right now, is that I would dig into that daisy paper and that stamp set and make some cards with that we could give away as gifts for Mother's Day. So that is the plan, and I'll probably do a Mother's Day card with it so that you could add the card with the gift. So that is the plan right now. I hope that you enjoyed your morning. I hope that this inspired you to go do something crafty today, or if not today, sometime. I have a lot of work that I have to do with some swaps and things like that, and cleaning up in my stamp room, because it kind of looks like a tornado went through it right now. But yeah, that's my plan. I hope that you have a great day. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to going back and reading some of your comments if I missed them. And just have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.